Are you ready to take a step back in time and discover the gross and unappealing hygienes of the Wild West? Today, we'll explore 15 gross so-called hygiene habits that people had to endure during this rough and rugged time period. From using grease as moisturizer to using corn cobs as toilet paper, these habits will definitely make you grateful for modern hygiene practices. Number 1. Baths. Bathing was a rare luxury for many people in the Wild West. Water was scarce and people often had to travel long distances to find it. When they did come across a source of water, it was usually dirty and contaminated. As a result, many people went weeks or even months without bathing. This lack of regular bathing led to the spread of diseases and infections, as well as unpleasant body odor. Number 2. Dry bath. To clean themselves, people would often use a cloth or a piece of flannel to wipe down their bodies. This was known as a dry bath. While it was better than nothing, a dry bath was far from an effective way to clean the body and remove dirt and sweat. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more interesting but gruesome facts coming at the end. Number 3. Toothpaste. Toothpaste as we know it today didn't exist in the Wild West. Instead, people would use a mixture of salt, baking soda, and water to brush their teeth. This homemade toothpaste was abrasive and lacked the fluoride found in modern toothpaste, leading to a higher incidence of tooth decay and gum disease. Number 4. Pesticides. Lice and fleas were a common problem in the Wild West as people didn't have access to modern pesticides. To get rid of them, people would often shave their heads or use goose fat as a natural insect repellent. While this may have been effective to some extent, it was a temporary solution and the lice and fleas would eventually return. Number 5. Soap. Personal hygiene products such as deodorant and soap were scarce in the Wild West. People would often use perfume or cologne to mask the smell of body odor. While these products may have made people smell better temporarily, they did nothing to address the underlying issue of poor hygiene. Number 6. Toilet paper. Toilet paper was a luxury that few people could afford. Instead, people would use newspapers, corn cobs, or even leaves to clean themselves after using the bathroom. This was not only uncomfortable and unappealing, but also posed a risk of infection. Number 7. Deadly diseases. Many people in the Wild West suffered from diseases such as dysentery and cholera due to poor sanitation practices. To prevent the spread of these diseases, people would often carry a small bottle of disinfectant with them. While disinfectant was helpful in reducing the risk of infection, it was not a foolproof solution and many people still fell ill. Number 8. Laundry. Laundry was a tedious and time-consuming task in the Wild West. People would have to heat water on a stove, then scrub the clothes by hand using soap made from animal fat. This process was labor-intensive and the soap was harsh on the skin and clothes, causing them to become rough and stiff. Number 9. Women's hygiene. Women in the Wild West often had to deal with the added burden of menstrual hygiene. There were no disposable pads or tampons, so women had to use rags or cloths that they would wash and reuse. This was not only inconvenient and uncomfortable, but it also posed a risk of infection. Number 10. Barbers. Barber shops were a popular place for men to get a haircut and a shave in the Wild West. However, the tools and equipments used were often dirty and unsterilized, leading to the spread of diseases. Many men contracted infections or diseases from dirty barbershop tools, which could have serious consequences given the lack of modern medical care at the time. Number 11. Medical care. The lack of proper medical care in the Wild West meant that people often had to rely on home remedies to treat injuries and illnesses. This could range from using herbs and spices to applying leeches to the skin. While some of these remedies may have had some benefits, they were often ineffective and could even cause harm. Number 12. Harsh weather. The Wild West was a rough and rugged place, and people often had to rely on their own resourcefulness and ingenuity to get by. This included finding ways to stay warm and comfortable in the harsh climate. To stay warm in the winter, people would often use raw animal skins and furs as blankets and clothing. However, these materials were often dirty and unappealing, and they had a strong odor. In addition, they posed a risk of infection and illness due to the lack of proper hygiene practices. Number 13. Dental hygiene. Poor dental hygiene was a common problem in the Wild West. People would often use tobacco or opium to numb the pain of toothaches rather than seeking professional dental care. This not only delayed proper treatment, but also contributed to the spread of tobacco-related diseases such as cancer. Number 14. Rough climate. The hot and dry climate of the Wild West made it difficult for people to keep their hair clean and healthy. To combat this, people would often use bear grease or axle grease as a makeshift hairstyling product. While this may have provided some temporary relief, it was also greasy and unappealing and did nothing to address the underlying issue of dry hair. Number 15. Sewage systems. The lack of modern plumbing and sewage systems in the Wild West meant that people had to resort to outhouses or privies. These were often dirty and unappealing, and the smell could be overpowering. Using an outhouse was not only unpleasant, but it also posed a risk of infection due to the lack of proper sanitation. What hygiene habit made your skin crawl the most? Let us know in the comments and check out the next video for other interesting facts.